The narrative begins in a secluded place, with a young billionaire named Chris Decker living alone in his house. The house is powered and secured by Watchdog, a security program he built for his firm. This program, which his wife, Jamie, believed always came first, contributed to the dissolution of their marriage, despite Chris selling it to prove otherwise. Jamie calls Chris to discuss divorce and alimony papers. Chris is hesitant to sign them, hoping for a reconciliation. However, Jamie insists that her decision is final. Chris regrets not fighting harder to keep their family together. Jamie blames him for prioritizing the company over family, a criticism Chris understands. She informs him that she has moved on and hopes he will do the same. Meanwhile, their daughter, Willow, misses her dad deeply. Jamie comforts her, assuring her that her dad loves her very much. In a late-night shop, after getting his chocolate ice cream, he notices a young woman named Sky, who asks for a recommendation to choose a wine for her current mood, to which Chris obliges. When her Uber cancels, he offers her a ride. Upon arriving at the motel where she is staying, she hesitates to go in because her roommate Lisa is a handful due to drugs and may be rowdy when awake. Chris proposes that she wait at his place for a few hours, and he will drop her back off when her roommate is asleep. Despite his offer, she insists on jumping out of the car, having heard her roommate's noise, which makes her hesitant to get inside. Chris drives back and picks her up, to which she agrees. When they arrive at Chris's home, she is amazed by the techy stuff inside the house. A while later, they begin to drink her wine. They converse about their personal lives. Chris tells her that he is already retired, having developed mobile apps, games, and other ventures. Sky, on the other hand, reveals that she modeled for years but eventually ended up working as a cocktail waitress at a bar. When they run out of wine, Chris shows her his extensive wine collection, and Sky requests something extremely expensive, which Chris grants. After a few hours of enjoying each other's company, they kiss, have fun, and entertain each other. The next morning, Sky returns to the motel and finds Lisa furious that she was made to wait without a call or text. However, she ignores her and goes inside her room to take some rest. On the other hand, Chris, feeling sad, remembers the bonding moments he had with his daughter, Willow. Chris meets Sky at the bar where she works. He admits that he's been stalking her for a while, which surprises Sky. On their way back to his car, she admits she never had a family and doesn't like starting with lies. Chris reveals that he's obsessed with security but not very cautious. They encounter someone attempting to break into his car, and Sky throws a bottle at the person, resulting in an altercation. After the person hits Chris with a crowbar, he quickly leaves. The following day, they return home with Chris in a wheelchair, limited in mobility due to a broken leg and cast. Sky offers to be his nurse to assist in caring for him. When he asks about her qualifications, she says she can do a lot of things, even making love with her patient. Chris agrees. Before she leaves, he gives her the passcodes to his house. After that, Sky returns to the motel, where their landlord, Ronald, reminds the ladies that they are 2 weeks behind on rent. Failure to pay will lead to eviction. Sky threatens him, saying he won't be able to spy on them in their bikinis anymore, but Ronald disregards this. While packing up some stuff, Lisa says she can't leave since she knows things. Later on, they kiss and entertain each other. Chris wakes up to the very gentle and beautiful face of Sky, feeling better with his nurse's presence. As they enjoy each other's company, Sky gives Chris incomparable care. While Chris is asleep, Sky bothers him to unlock his cell phone using iris scan before she leaves the room. Ronald, their landlord, tired of their late rent excuses, attempts to gain entrance to their rooms. With no response, he lets himself in, only to discover Lisa's lifeless body in the bathtub. He informs the police about Sky, but none of that information is on file. When the media arrive, Ronald quickly approaches them, hoping for an interview, but they ignore him, believing he is crazy, much to his disappointment. Back at Chris's house, he is discussing the signature matter with Jamie, but he insists on postponing the conversation due to his current condition. When Jamie learns that Chris has broken his leg, she offers to visit unexpectedly on Friday morning so that their daughter, Willow, can cheer him up. Feeling uplifted and loved, Chris eventually agrees to sign the divorce papers for Jamie to collect at the same time, much to her delight. He admits that he has hired a private care nurse, but Jamie is concerned about security regarding letting a stranger into his house, which Chris dismisses. Later, while Sky is taking a shower in the bathroom, Chris notices her belongings and sees a photo of Sky with her roommate, Lisa. He accidentally drops it, and Sky catches him meddling with her things. She understands, though, as she is just living there. After that, they share a moment of fun, which eventually leads to them entertaining each other. That night, Sky is seen entering Willow's room and rummaging through her things before lying on the bed and singing. The next day, Chris wakes up unable to find his phone. He tries calling Sky to ask her about it, but nobody is around. He notices something on television. Lisa had died, according to the news. Later, he sees that Sky has arrived. She enters the house carrying fried chicken and, feeling hungry, immediately starts eating. When he asks about his phone, she refuses to talk about it until after they've eaten. During their conversation, Chris discusses what he saw on the news with Sky, but she seems indifferent to what happened. She reveals that she's the one who killed Lisa, leaving Chris shocked and disbelieving. Sky explains that she had simply stayed in Lisa's apartment for 2 months to observe everything happening around Chris's house and to build his very exact schedule pattern using a telescope. She knew that his cleaner wasn't coming for a few days, he never got visitors, and she knew everything about Chris's daily routine. She also admits that she didn't accidentally bump into him at the grocery store. Chris finally realizes that he has been set up. When he tries to escape, she uses the app on his stolen phone to lock all the doors. When he attempts to retrieve his phone, Sky tasers Chris, causing him to pass out. Meanwhile, Ronald enters the apartment to clean it. As he goes inside the room, he notices a telescope by the window. Out of curiosity, he tries to look through it and sees a woman doing yoga. Shortly after, he notices another woman in a nearby house, who turns out to be Sky. He is surprised and amazed by what he sees. At Chris's house, Chris wakes up strapped to a wheelchair. Sky admits her true motive for doing this. When he screams at her, she kicks him right away. Sky asks for his passcodes and security codes, but he declines to give them, prompting Sky to use a drill on his damaged leg. Later, Sky transfers millions from Chris's account. The following day, Sky threatens him once more, thanking him for the information he gave her, saying that they have Zoom calls to make with his bankers and brokers to liquidate his stocks. When she releases his straps, Chris has a chance to strangle her. However, Sky manages to grab a pair of scissors, which she immediately uses to stab him. She prevents him from fleeing by threatening to harm his daughter. After she destroys the house's network system, she takes photos of all the paintings inside the house. Later, an unexpected visitor arrives. As he enters to begin taking things, it is revealed that Sky was working with a man attempting to break into Chris's car, and that injuring his leg was intentional. The man's name is Kiju. While Chris is all alone, Ronald breaks into the house, alerting Sky via the app. When he gets in, Chris instructs him to call the police, expecting that Sky is on her way back due to the alarm. Instead of immediately assisting Chris, Ronald blackmails him for payment. He becomes interested in a Picasso painting worth $7 million, and they make a deal. While rescuing Chris, Sky returns to the house. Chris orders Ronald to attack her, but Ronald tries to escape with the painting. Sky lets Chris watch as she chases Ronald through the house. As she searches and finally catches him, she eliminates him using a samurai sword. Chris manages to break free from being shackled in the wheelchair and flees on a snow bike, but he is hurled off after colliding with a boulder and is sent flying toward an approaching vehicle. When he is picked up by a driver, he believes he is finally free, until he finds out he is being transported back to his house with a blood-soaked Sky. The driver, Sky's stepfather, Sebastian, kisses Sky before she leaves to wash off. Sebastian reveals to Chris that they began a relationship after her mother died unexpectedly. He trained her in the fine art of deception and identity theft, especially when it came to seducing young and lonely guys like him. Sebastian also tells Chris that they are targeting him because he is not using his wealth. That evening, Chris clearly hears Sky and Sebastian moaning in the room. Afterwards, she says, "I'm sorry, I had to feed the wolf." She tells Chris that it's unfortunate she's a con because he's the better lover, and Chris replies that she could have had it all if she hadn't turned out to be a psychopath. He also admits that he loved her, but she replies that it's all just a dream. The couple wants millions in bonds, specifically $14 million in bearer bonds that require face-to-face access at a safe deposit box at the main branch of the American bank. That's why they haven't eliminated him yet. So, they cut off Chris's thumb so Sebastian can appear to be Chris when they go to the bank. The next morning, Jamie and Willow arrive at the house, wondering what is going on. Willow quickly goes to her room to get her staff toy when she encounters Sky. Sky introduces herself as Chris's private nurse to Jamie. Jamie threatens Sky if she doesn't show her Chris, but Sebastian arrives, and they are all imprisoned in a room together before the couple leaves. Sebastian notices something different about Sky, but she insists they should just focus on getting the bonds. When he sees Willow, he hugs her tightly with delight. After playing with a coin, they notice the vent, realizing that Willow is small enough to fit through it. Despite Jamie's reluctance, Chris encourages her because they need to get out of there. Willow crawls out through a vent. At the bank, using Chris's fingerprint, Sebastian manages to unlock his account, allowing them to access the safe room. When they open the safe box, they discover that the bearer bonds are not there. They only find a letter from Jamie. Chris explains to Jamie why his thumb was cut and what the thieves are after. Jamie reveals that the bonds are no longer in that safe box and have been moved to her private box, implying that they will return shortly. Willow uses a passcode to enter the house just moments before Sky and Sebastian arrive. Chris and Sebastian engage in a fist fight, but due to his wounds, Chris is unable to fight back. Sky decides to shoot Sebastian in the hopes that she and Chris can reconcile. Chris stabs Sky in the shoulder before grabbing the phone and fleeing. He sends an SOS signal to the police while Sky pursues him, using the app to access music and lights to distract her. He deliberately leads Sky to his location. After Sky finds him, they engage in a fight, and during their struggle, Jamie rushes out to help. They all engage in battle, but Jamie is injured. Just as Sky is about to execute them, they hear a gunshot, and Sky collapses to the ground, mortally injured. Willow is shown to have shot her in the back. Before she dies, Sky admits her real name to Chris, revealing that she is Margaret. For more videos similar to this, don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications. Thank you for watching.